It sounds a little loud. So if it's too loud, we can go back in. Gracias. Oh, I got a thumbs up there. I don't know what that means. I hope it means we're okay. Yes, we are here. It's 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. Welcome. Hola, welcome to the live. You know, it says that it's noisy here on this street, so you guys are gonna find out. Hola, I'm on the balcony. I hope I'm not too dark. Eh, my poof poofs. Hola, I'm having a little bit of Riesling this afternoon. Why not? Hola, hola, everybody say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Saturdays are busy for me, so I like getting with you guys. I'm seeing a glare in my glasses. Hi, Cora. How are you? Yes, welcome. Come into the room. Like people say, come in, come in. I am sitting here on the balcony today because we are having an unseasonably nice and it's not cool, but it's not blazing hot and humid. Hello, Cheryl. Bonjour de Montréal. Bonjour, comment ça va? Very good. You know, I wanted to go back to a French speaking country for 6 months so I can get my French back. When I was in Rwanda, I was excited because they speak French there too. But hola, bonjour, Nurse Clinton, hola. How are you guys doing? Oh, let's see if this thing is on. Yeah, Delaware. How is it in Delaware? Is it what is this? Is like September. Is it getting cool? Bonjour. Okay, ça va. Ça va. You know, when my brother married a French woman, and when he comes and he starts talking, I'm like, slow down, bro. Because I'm like, forgotten most of my French. How are you guys doing? Yep, it's been, we've had lots of rain here in Panama. It has been a rainy season. Oh, good. It has been a very, very rainy season. I got caught in it last week sometime. I mean, it starts raining and it rains and it rains and it rains. It's like, woo. So I think it keeps things a little bit on the cool side. And then in the dry season, it gets really hot again and humid. And someone said, oh my goodness, someone said it's not just the heat, it's the humidity, right? But of course, I'm from Florida, so we're used to the heat. I'm used to the heat. Football game. Who's playing? Oh, yeah, it's almost time for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that whole thing going on with Bad Bunny and all that. I was like, whoo, what is going on with folks? Why do you care so much? I don't care who plays the halftime. Dear my Lord. Seriously, people. With all the stuff we have going on, and we're going to be upset about somebody singing at the Super Bowl. I don't particularly care for that guy's music, but I don't care if he sings. And usually, when I watch the football game, that's what I watch. I watch the halftime show. I don't understand football. I understand the touchdown. That's about it. I remember when the Tampa Bay won, my daughter and I, we were in Florida, and we screamed for a solid 10 minutes. I mean, we screamed. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice one. Texas versus Florida. Hmm. Florida where? Is it the Miami something, or does Florida have its own team? That's how far gone I am. All right, ladies. So this is the live. This is the time for you to ask me questions. Let's see if there's been anything going on in Panama. Panama has been the same, quiet. Hello. The weather, right? In terms of the political stage, is pretty much the same. The president has its people who love him and so who don't. I was in Peru when I was there earlier this year, and they were fussing and protesting. They didn't like the president. People never like what they have, right? Some people will always have issues. I try very hard not to infuse my videos or my talks with politics. I stay away. I think we have enough of that, and I do not. When somebody says something, somebody said to me today in a comment, he's like, "Oh, you had me until you made your political whatever known." And I'm like, I know I try really hard not to be political, but I might have said a word here and there. And he said, I'm surprised you're a leftist. And I'm like, how do you know I'm a leftist? And then he said, and you an MSN? And I'm like, okay, that means my education has something to do with my political. I said, thank you for your comment. That's as far we're gonna go, right? No, you went to Miami. Oh, you went to University of Miami. My cousin did too. But the Gators are playing Texas. Oh, the Gate. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. Where I come from in Florida, it was the Gators versus the one that at Florida State. Gators and what did they call them? I forgot the name of the team, but it used to be huge. Always that, but friendly competition. I love that. So, we had a big show here in Panama last Thursday, or was it 2 Thursdays ago? Premio Juventud, which is a Latin American award show, and that came to Panama. So all the big television people from Univision, Goldo y la Flaca, I watch Spanish TV, and they were here and blending the Latin culture with Panama culture. So there is a song that is very, I forgot what they call it, very typical of Panama. And then they sing the song, and then all our dancers in their polleras were doing the traditional folkloric dance. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was beautiful. Come on. It's a nice distraction with everything that's going on around us. So Panama was um, on blast last weekend, and they had a wonderful time. The tourism department and did a good job in terms of taking them around. They went to Cologne and had all the Congo culture, and they all had their pollera face, the headpiece, and the clothes, and they absolutely loved it. And one of them said, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." That's what happens to people when they come to Panama. Most people, that country has a way of wrapping its arms around you, and you feel so good here. As soon as you hit the airport, you feel your stress draining. And I'm telling you, I told you how I decided to stay here in Panama because I came to see the canal, and then it was like this thing came over me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love the way I feel here. And then that's how I kept coming back, just to be sure that it wasn't something fleeting and the feeling was stronger every time. So when it was time to retire, it was an easy decision. It wasn't hard at all. My soul connected. The Seminoles, yes, ma'am, thank you. You know, I don't remember actors' names and team names. It comes to me in 2 hours or the next day. I call it the big delay, the synaptic delay. Yeah. So we had that going, so that was great. And September is kind of a quiet month here in Panama. People just go out. I think tonight the expats are having some. I think he's a comedian. I'm not into that live comedy thing. He's here tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow night show is sold out, and so he's going to be. Where is he going to be? Emotions Theater, which is where they do a lot of burlesque. They do a lot of shows from people maybe who Tina Turner, those they do all this stuff here. So he's gonna be here, and I know the expats also have something on Sundays now that they do, where they, I guess they have a chef that's cooking their southern food, so they get grits, shrimp and grits, and fried chicken and greens and stuff. I don't eat that kind of stuff, so that doesn't talk to me. So yes. Um, let's see. What else do we have going on here? I mean, you hear the noise. I'm on the balcony, and I hear the siren and all that. So, but that's part of the landscape. That's part of living in a city, right? And a lot of us, despite the noise, we love the city. And also, October is probably going to be a quiet month. When it starts popping is in November, because in November we celebrate two Independence Days, and I think there is another holiday where they shut down everything. So in November, I want to say the 3rd or the 5th, we celebrate separation from Colombia. Which one comes first? Don't quote me, I don't remember. But we celebrate two Independence Days, even though it's not two Independence Days. We celebrate separation from Colombia because Panama and Colombia used to be together. And then when it came to build the canal, the Americans helped Panama separate from Colombia. So I remember in one video I said, we celebrate two Independence Days. And then this Panamanian said, no, it's separation from Colombia and independence from Spain. All right. So we celebrate. So what happens during these months of people talking about their identity, la patria? La patria means my country, tis of thee that I love. They wear their folkloric attire. They wear the pollera skirts, and they have some shirts that look really Panamanian with the embroidery and all. And the ladies put the stuff in their hair, and the guys wear the guayabas, the straight white shirt that is also embroidered. And the little kids, they have some for the little ones. And it's just a month of celebrating pride. When you go to something, an event, and then they always have the Puyela dancers. Sometimes they'll have the Congo dancers because they want to constantly recognize and include the Afro-Panamanian culture, which is the Congo culture, because their polleras are made differently. They look like patched because we as slaves didn't have access to the fancy, frilly type of material. So whatever scraps they were to find, that's what they used to make their own polleras. I know. But when you are watching a show and you see all the pollera dancers come from all over the country, then they have the Congo dancers from Cologne, because Cologne is the soul of the Afro-Panamanian culture. And then when you see their polleras and their dances are different, and the adults go out of their way to preserve that culture. You will see some kids dancing, and in the way it's like the girl and the boy are dancing, the boy wants to be in her face and she's pushing him away, and the man usually has his face covered with black tar, like the black face, and it doesn't mean the same thing as it means over there. It's just, and then we have the devil. You're gonna see the picture of the red devil. They consider the colonizers the devil, and it was like they're pushing him away. So that is that tradition. They want to continue to show how they got rid of them and they pushed them out. So that is real big in Cologne and Portobello, which is outside of Cologne. So whatever presentation they have, you could have presidents coming to visit, ambassadors, any kind of high level event, you're going to have the Poyera dancers. And of course, the Poyera dance is kind of similar to a lot of other countries in Latin America. So if you're watching dances in Mexico, Colombia, and any other country in Latin America, there is a certain similarities where the men look like peasants, from the interior, and they're wearing the hat, like here, the man would have the front of the hat is pushed up, and then they're wearing the sandals, not shoes, and then they have like something of like a little sack across their chest, and then they have a lot of dances where they hold their hands and they're, hovering over the woman, and it's really, 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 hola, Grandma Peaches, hola. So they have a lot of that going on. Anytime you have a celebration in Panama, you're gonna have the Poyera, you're gonna have the Congo dancers, you're gonna have El Diablo, meaning the devil, in there. That's just part of that Panamanian culture. And then they're always saying, who are we, Panameños? Who are we, Panameños? Somos orgullosos de ser Panameños. There is pride in their identity. And I find that fascinating because, like people in my culture who come from the Caribbean or who are African American, sometimes we struggle with our identity about where do we belong, because they don't want you to feel like you're part of them over there. It's like they don't want you to exist to even be there. So you struggle with that. Not all, I've heard about the FBA stuff. I'm not into that. I don't even know what that means. But here, I don't feel that. I'm not part of it, but the locals are so proud of their country, their culture, their history, and they work really hard to preserve it. And I told you, my friend Hilario, he says Panama is a paella. It's a mix of cultures, and he said they live harmoniously. They live together, and you don't see any overt friction between the Chinese, the Afro-Panamanians, the Spanish, because 60 to 70% of Panamanians are mixed. We call them mestizos, okay? So when you say you Panamanian, it's like, okay, raíces, what are your roots? Are you Afro or are you Spanish? Or you indigenous? Because they're all living together. And when you see them walking down the street sometimes, they are mixed. The couples are mixed. And I'm like, it's a beautiful thing to see. And I really pray to God that that doesn't change, because that makes Panama a special place, a special place. And my friend also said, we've never had a mass shooting. We've never had a church burn. People are not that aggressive to make you feel like you don't belong. They don't want you. You less than. We don't have that here. We don't have that here. And that's why a lot of us are able to just relax a bit, relax a bit. And this is a beautiful thing. And we who are here, I mean, I retired, we are just grateful, grateful to experience a certain level of peace in our life. Puerto Barrios. There is one in Panama, Puerto Barrios, no sé. My girlfriend is from Puerto Barrios in Guatemala. I'm not familiar with Puerto Barrios. I'm not saying it's not here. I'm just not familiar with it. All right, guys, your questions, and I will answer. As far as I know, nothing has changed about Independence Day from Spain. Are you talking about Panama? Oh, it could be because I know the first one is earlier in the month and then the second one is towards the end. Okay, yes. And let me tell you, the kids have been practicing the band. Panama is big on marching bands. Every school pretty much has one. There are some more famous than others, like the one from Chitre. Chitre is smack in the middle of the country. It's one of those towns in the province of Herrera. Panama has 10 provinces that you could equate to like states, right? And the provinces have districts, and the districts have corregimientos, meaning towns, right? So Panama City is a town inside the province of Panama. Panama itself is a province. And I think I was telling you guys, if you go to David or Boquete or Volcan in the west side of the country, and I'm going to catch a bus, and I said, un billete para Panama City, Ciudad de Panama. And then they say, you're going to Panama. I said, well, I am in Panama. But now I understand because Panama, where I'm at, is in this district of Panama. So we have 10, I mean, in the province of Panama. So we have 10 different provinces. And every little province has its own little flair, and they will celebrate whatever the holiday is based on their own identity. The food might be a little bit different. Um, and, they have their folkloric thing that may be different. The music here in Panama is very eclectic. They are big on salsa, but you also will hear reggaeton during carnival and other fiestas. If you go to some Spanish restaurant, they're doing the flamenco dance. What else do I see? Ballet. We have ballet, at the theaters. But and then when you go visit any of the indigenous uh, groups, they have their own little dances and cultures, and the indigenous are opening their communities to people like us, foreigners, tourists, and then they do a lot of things like they do bracelets and ankle bracelets and necklaces and baskets, lots of weaving, and then each um, indigenous group has their own flair and their own look. So when you see them in the city, I'm like, yeah, this is Ngabe Guble, this is Gunayala, and this is Embera. Those are the three major ones that we see out a lot. Cost of living, compare food, health, insurance, housing costs. Oh, yes, 5K? Yes, ma'am. You're going to live like a queen. Just be careful and manage your money and save most of it. Don't go crazy. I was watching a video this week about another couple, and they had an insurance agent on, and he was talking about how um, prices of rental prices and even Dubai have been creeping up here in Panama. And we're afraid they're going to start calling it gentrification, right? And I mean, I know because I made like a few inquiries about some apartments, and they may answer you, but they don't follow through. They didn't used to be like that because now so many people are coming. They don't have to kind of do the hand holding and the follow up because they have the demand is so high. So cost of living, if you want to live like a regular Joe, I'm a regular Joe, Joanne, you're gonna spend between $1,500 $1,800 on an apartment in a nice area. like close to where I live. If you want to go to Costa del Este, you're going to go in the upper 2,000, 3,000. But, they're ocean front and they're huge. And remember that this is one of the latest planned communities. So they have more of a Western flair. So open concept, shiny floors and views and space. So let's say you pay $2,000 for your apartment. If you're a single person, you're not like me, you're not whole food plant based, you might spend $90, $100 a week on groceries. I don't. I spend about less than half of that because I'm not buying meat, okay? And then if you shop at the farmer's market, of course, you're going to get better prices than if you go into the store. But anything that is boxed or it comes from the West is going to cost you a little more. So what you want to do is to find out, is there a local Panamanian alternative that's going to be a lot cheaper? Electric, it depends on you. Are you hot blooded? Do you need to have your AC on all the time? Do you have central AC, which is going to cost you more, versus those inverter things you put on the wall? They have a name for it, split something on the wall in each room that you can control with a remote. You can keep your electric bill around $100, $150 a month without being uncomfortable. All right. Your cable is gonna run you about $50, $60 a month. It's not that high. And your cell phone is $20, $30 a month. So where you might spend money might be in Uber rides. If you're one of those people, you do not want to be in the streets like I do, and you want to just take Uber everywhere, yeah, you might spend about $100 a month, maybe more, depending on how much you use it. Um, and then what else? The other cost you may have would include your entertainment budget, right? How much you want to go out. You want to explore all the restaurants. We got plenty of them for you to try. And people complain about gringo pricing. I mean, if you go to a restaurant and the prices are on the menu, you're not being gringo price. Come on. Um, but depending on where you go eat, because remember, this is where they make the money. It's in the alcohol. So how much you gonna? I went to a place last week and everybody was drinking something. I'm like, okay, I'll have a sangria. He brought me a sangria in a little flask, and I didn't pay attention whether it was a glass itself versus the carafe, I guess you could call it. And when he brought the bill, that sangria was like $37, and I'm like, I know why I don't go out much. I was like, oh. And then you got to pay your tip. So it was a $40 sangria. No more, no mas. Maggie's too cheap for that. So your entertainment budget, it's up to you how much you want to go out with the friends. If you still want to go on trips, you got to, tours. You want to go into the interior, you got to budget for that, sis. And the other thing I suggest people do, remember, listen, if you don't hear me say anything about Panama, Panama is wonderful, but make sure you have your health care taken care of, okay? Because it is not what you're used to. It's a cash-based healthcare system. You got to pay for your care unless you have some type of insurance. And when you hit 65, it's nearly impossible. I am trying to get a broker to come talk to us again because we are all struggling with what kind of insurance plan to have. We pay out of pocket to go see our doctor. People pay to get their mammograms and woman whatever done. And then if you get like a cold or something, I'm like, what do you go to the doctor for if you have a cold? Just go to bed, take your tea and your drink and let it pass. Oh no, some people got to go to the doctor and the doctor has to give them something. Um, so you're paying for that and the medications. And but I do recommend that you keep like $200, put it on the side just for your health care. The problem we run into is if you get into an accident or you have an emergency. Let's say you have a stroke, you have a heart attack, people develop blood clots, you get shingles. There are all kinds of reasons where you may have to be admitted to the hospital. And without insurance, ladies and gentlemen, you have to give your credit card. They will not begin care for you until they have built your credit card a certain amount of money, which is like an advance, right? They'll say, oh, she comes with like a cough. Maybe she would do an x-ray. Oh, it sounds like pneumonia, right? So they give you a little slip. They say, this is what the x-ray and everything is going to cost. So they're going to charge your credit card before they touch you, okay? And then you get your care. At the end, when you're ready to go home, they're going to itemize everything. And then chances are they're going to have to add some more charges to your credit card. So if you don't have a credit card with enough of a credit line on it, they're going to send you by ambulance to the public hospital where you're going to pay very little. I went to with this lady the other day. She was having a stroke. They gave me the slip to go to the cashier, la caja, they call it, to pay. It was an IV for them to start the IV, give her an X-ray, do an ultrasound. I think there was like a CAT scan or MRI of a brain, and it was like 260 for all that. It was not going to cost you that at the private hospital, okay? So you really have to do your homework on what you are comfortable with, what is going to happen to you when something happens. If you fall down in the street and they take you by ambulance somewhere, you know, while you can't respond, they're going to look through your stuff and say, who's your next of kin? Let me call and see who's going to be financially responsible for this person. So you got to get all that. That's why my sisters, we talk about having an emergency bag and having a folder, putting all your information. This is my local contact. This is my contact in the US. This is my doctor's number. This is, and keep a little bit of cash in your apartment, because if you go, let's say you just slip and they do an x-ray, it costs 150, then you have to be able to, and in those public hospitals, most of them don't take credit card. In the city here, Santo Tomas did take credit card, but if you're in the interior, they might say no, cash. So healthcare is a big concern. So before you come, before you pack your bag, make sure you know what you're going to do. And a lot of us now in this temporada, in this season of open enrollment for Medicare Advantage, we got letters. I didn't, but some people got letters that their Advantage plan is not going to renew in their area, and they are state specific. So make sure you are talking to an insurance broker, and they'll be able to swap you into another plan that is available in your state in the US. And then here, by law, well, you know what the law means nowadays. By law, they're supposed to cover you if you are in the, outside of the US, if something happens to you. But it's the reimbursement is the problem. You know what we go through when you're in the US and you're trying to get reimbursed for something? Don't they try all tricks of the trade to make sure they don't pay you? Yes. Imagine if they realize it's a hospital in Panama. They're going to play the shenanigans and they're going to want to pay. So the hospital now are saying, oh no, we're not supposed to wait that long to get our money. You pay us and then you deal with your insurance company. So we kind of back to that after we were told that now they're going to bill the insurance company. But if the insurance company is dragging its feet, Panama is not going to put up with it. So we're back to it. Oh, she does, Grandma, she does, she said Jackie from Panama Relocation Tours recently she does a lot of videos about that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the hospitals that she championed as being the ones here in the city to bill your Medicare, like United Medicare directly, they did that for 8 months, and then now they say we're putting a pause because your insurance company is not paying them fast enough. So now we're back to having to pay first and then submit our claim later. And Jackie herself said it took her 8 months to get her money back after she paid for her hospital when she had COVID. So cash, credit card, or you can buy an international plan and they're very expensive. And there are a couple of options, but they have limitations on them. So do your homework. San Francisco or El Carmen. Okay, I lived in El Carmen. Where I was a bit noisy for me, so I did not want to go back there. San Francisco is very desirable. Lots of people live there and they love it. And some places even have the ocean front, like we do now. Well, it what do they charge to be seen in the hospital? It depends because we have public hospital, we have private hospital, and each private hospital will have their own charges. I am trying to schedule some visits with the different hospitals so we can compare costs. But the squinky, shiny, it's gonna cost you more. So if you want a private room, you're gonna pay. If you want a semi-private, it'll be less. And I think they do have some rooms here in Panama where they have more than two people, right? Remember you saw them in the movies? Yeah, we have some of those. Especially, hey, Beth, especially if you go to the public hospital. Chances are you're going to be sharing rooms because the prices are so low. You are going to be sharing room. I really don't know how much they charge. That's an information I'm going to try to find out from Pacifica Salud, Hospital Nacional, and some of the others. I'm sure they're like different, $200-300 a month, different tiers. And then you have the doctors, you got the labs, you got the tests. So, but listen, people have had surgeries here. They've had X-rays, ultrasound, CAT scan, and they're talking about hundreds of dollars, not thousands. So the public hospitals are really, really affordable. The only thing I caution people, if you're having a major emergency as a foreigner, you in better it's better for you to go to one of those Deborah, hey, did you get here, Deborah? Are you here? I think she was coming today. Oh, yesterday. But if you're having an emergency like a stroke or a heart attack, I'd say you save money to spend on you, right? So if you're having a heart attack and a stroke, you want to be in a place where you're going to be seen fast. Because remember, for those attacks, you have 90 minutes for them to be able to save those muscles, your brain tissue and your heart tissue. So the longer you wait and you drag your feet, and when you go to those public hospitals, chances are you end up waiting. Someone asked me if they have triage. I hope so. Because I was in the emergency room in that public hospital. It looked pretty decent. So I hope so. But I say if you have a choice, go to one of those private hospitals. They had some issues in the news about some of the hospitals in the interior and cleanliness. They were showing that there was a hospital, the elevator wasn't working, so they were carrying this patient out somewhere else. Be careful. You are not at home, so the system is different. I remember being in Ghana and I was going on a tour, and I hired this couple. It was a husband and wife. They were driving so crazy. And the only thing that came to my mind is if we get into a crash on this road, I'm probably going to be roadkill because there is no helicopter coming to get you. And the delay, the time it will take for them to coordinate to get an ambulance to go through that traffic that we were just in to get to you got to be okay with that. And understand if something happens to you, it's not going to be the same experience in an emergency. Now, if you got something like you broke your leg and your knee, you need to get a knee replacement, that's different. I'm talking about trauma, emergency type trauma. You got to be okay with that. Sounds like a lot. I can't imagine. Uh, Well, no, even if you go to a public hospital here, you still end up way better than what you have at home. Way better. The quality of the physicians who care for you here are top notch, and they are human. They have empathy. They treat you as a human being, not a number. It's not all about profit. That's what I'm used to. If you don't have insurance, you come with any kind of pain, up, Tylenol, send it home. But if you have insurance, whoo, they take you in and they do everything they can to you so they can bill that insurance. And when you bill that insurance thousands of dollars, the next year they go to all their employees and jack up the price because they're like, we're not paying that much for insurance, so they pass it on to you. It's a vicious cycle, vicious system. They don't have that here. They itemize everything. They say, "Oh, you want an IV? Oh, that's $8." I had blood work done one time, and it was like $25. Things that are manageable. That is the difference here. I came last week and returned on Saturday. Oh, you already gone? Oh, that's right. Somebody else is coming. Somebody's bringing me, ooh, a Dutch oven. That was somebody else. That's Deborah. Oh, okay, yeah, Deborah is coming. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. The healthcare, I think, is the thing that people should really pay attention to if you're an older person. If you're less than 65, I say come here quick and lock yourself into a health insurance plan because they're not going to drop you when you get to be 65. But if you're 65, they're like, I'm like, you know, we're living longer, but it hasn't caught up with the system here yet. Nope. I can't wait to visit there the first quarter of 2026. Yes. Do you have a meet and greet location? I may be mixing up the Panama channels because I follow a few of you lovely people. We have we have our meetup on the third Thursday of every month, and that's usually follow. It's like includes lunch, lots of networking, and we usually have some kind of a topic. Usually I'm the one addressing the topic, but I love to include speakers. Like we're having a speaker this month. She's a CPA. She's going to talk to us about taxation and stuff like that. Because, it doesn't matter where you relocate to in this big old world. If you're a US citizen, you're still mandated to file your taxes. If you're retired, you don't work, you still need to file taxes. And then there is a form, she said it's called FBAR, that you have to complete if you ever have more than $10,000 in any foreign account. So Uncle Sam wants to know where your money is and what you're doing with it. And some of us are selling our homes. So you want to know about capital gain taxes and stuff like that. So we do that. I'm trying to get a Zoom meeting with an insurance broker that's going to talk about all the different options that might be available to people my age. Not a lot of options. I'm pretty sure about that. So maybe it will be we can count it on one hand. but at least we'll have the information and we can make an informed decision. Um, Someone suggested a speaker to talk about something that sounded like feng shui, just to make your home here look like a home, because you can get caught in that sterility, and you don't want your home to be sterile. Even if it's an apartment, you want to make it feel like home, right? Because that is your sanctuary. So, how do you make that, even though you're away from home, that your home is a place of peace? Sometimes it takes thought. You got to think about it. So, third Thursday of every month, we meet around 1 o'clock at a local restaurant. We're starting to outgrow that. This is the third place that we've been that we've just grown. And then quarterly, we have our tea. So the last tea for the year is going to be on October 25th, I believe. The last Saturday of the month at 3 o'clock at the Waldorf Astoria, we have our tea where we all wear white and we wear our hats. So we kind of dress up a little bit. So we like that. Those are the only meetups that we have. I know there is a couple in Panama. Somebody said they have all kinds of gatherings. Me, I can't keep up with all that, so I only have two, and I'm not looking to have more. Are eligible for Panama's MAP-free health insurance with your visa? Oh, they don't care about the kind of visa you have. They're more concerned about your age and any pre-existing condition. That's what determines whether you accept it in the plan, what your premiums are going to be, and what's covered and not covered. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very a la carte. There is no standard across the board. And you got to get a physical. They got to check your heart, your lungs, an EKG, X-ray. They make you walk up and down to see if you're frail, if you're going to fall and end up with a hospital with a broken hip. So it's important. So MAP free is very popular, but popular for younger folks, not older folks. Okay. Hola from New York City, Lady Reed. Nice to see you. Oh, Fredessa's here. Hola. Hola. Fredessa, how are you enjoying Panama? She just got her residency. I was able to find my Riesling. I just walked different places to find it. I'm so happy. I'm a Riesling kind of girl. Any other question? Insurance. You know, for older San Francisco, hola. We have lots of people here from the Bay Area. A lot of people from the ATL, Atlanta. And then after that, we kind of scattered. The Carolinas, I met several people from the Carolinas. Not so much from New York or Florida. Yeah, so the insurance issue, I believe, is the most important for people our age group, you know, single women who have retired. The insurance issue is one that they need to pay attention to because they can change it at any moment. And it's also very specific. It's person specific, right? So they don't say, well, this applies to everybody. Well, we'll see. Let's look at your lab. Let's see what your vitals are. Let's see the results of all the tests we ordered, and then we make a decision. There are no guarantees. Okay. So we Bay Area people need to get together. Oh, good. How about a meetup in that new restaurant in Oakland? Oh, you mean in Oakland, in California? because I don't know of an Oakland here. You must be talking about California. There are lots of meetups here in Panama. I think they're having a Exodus Summit meetup, virtual meetup here. And Stephanie Perry has been here. Oh, I think Rick and Elise from Portugal are in town here in Panama. They're gonna have a meetup on Wednesday somewhere. I'm not sure where. Hola, Auntie. Yes, so every so often we have people coming here. We had the lady from 60 Plus Black Women Expat here, and Hola Debbie here. So we have lots of visitors because you know this expat community is kind of tight. We kind of watch each other's videos. We know who's where, and whenever they travel, you know they hang out with their crew. You know, Stephanie is in Colombia now, so she has meetups there. And you have Rashida is still in Mexico. What's that other one? Freaky Girl in Mexico. Krishan in Portugal. Now Mary Golf in Portugal. So people go around. We keep up with everybody. Okay, yeah. I think those of you in the Bay Area should meet up. That's good. And you know, Exodus Summit does a lot of that. And I think they're coming. They're well, like their a program, online program is like the 10th to the 13th, I think. I have to say I haven't been to one, but because you know I'm old and I'm already retired, I don't really see the need for me to attend those. You know, those are for people who are trying to figure out what to do with themselves. Can they get out, and how do they get out? And of course, they're going to address the money issue because that is big. When you move to a new country, making sure you have income coming in from multiple sources or you don't run out of money. I was watching again last night. I think this beautiful girl from Ghana, she was interviewing this guy who moved to uh, Ghana, and he said he had like $25,000 in his bank account. He said that was gone in like 6 months. And what do you do after that? So, us ladies here, senior ladies here in Panama, I have been preaching to my sisters, you need to find a way to supplement whatever income you're getting because we don't know what's coming down the pike. You have a government shutdown. We don't know what that might mean for us. Do not rely solely on Social Security. Of course, I know if I had to go back, I could just call my daughter. I'd crash with her. But you know, I wouldn't be happy there alone. Mm. So you have got to make plans for yourself, sis. Do a little bit here, a little there, teach here, teach there, bring a little bit of coin in, and then watch the money. Don't try to live large and keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are everywhere. There's no reason to try to impress people. Okay? Everybody's situation is different. You are never idle. No, I'm not. No, it's not that. It's just like I love to be busy. Woo, I'm outside. I love to be busy and it keeps me engaged and it keeps me happy, right? Because I've told you guys that in your retirement, you need to develop plans and goals. And the research shows that the longer you do that, the better your brain is going to work and the less likely you're going to become, you develop dementia, right? So, and my last video, I did that, you know, and I was surprised. Not many people watched it because I was trying to tell them how I discovered my passion because once you retire, you're in your 60s, and then you're like, what if I'm in good shape? What if I live to be 90? That's 30 plus years. That's a whole lifetime. So I have to craft something, a business idea or whatever it is, so I can live the second life, my second half of my life, right? So you got to think about it, you got to work at it, and then you have to develop some new goals and some, like, retirement doesn't mean you don't work, but you're doing work that you like, not just because of the money, because you don't have the money pressures that you had when you were young. The kids, college, mortgage, and all that. So now you're doing it because you want to, and because you see the need to create extra income, and that's what Exodus 7 is going to talk about. How do you keep yourself from going broke abroad? Rashida retired with thousands of dollars, and I'm sure she's a millionaire right now. So I cannot compare myself to her, and she's younger than I am. Yes, we have Social Security, but it's not safe. You guys know the dangers that we are running nowadays, that anything can be taken away. So you have to try to be ready. You retired moving to Portugal. Okay, great. Just make sure your money is straight, sis. Rick and Halisi talk a lot about how to get your money straight and then to make the money, to investing. And that's what Rashida does. She says, I invest my money and I leave it there. I forget it. And then every quarter she looks at it to see how much money she made. Thank you so much. It works for me as a mature and older woman. That's the other thing that I said in my last video. I said I was blessed that last year I found my people. I found you, the single older woman. And I just made a beeline for it and I stayed focused. So everything I do, whether it's my workout, whether it's my cooking show, whether it's me talking to you, I'm talking to the single older woman. And I think as I near the end of 2025, I'm making a concerted effort to get the information that we need in terms of healthcare. So, like next week, I'm going to visit an assisted living to see what it looks like. Does it look like the assisted living at home? And if it does, how much does it cost, right? Because if we have sisters who are coming here in their 30s, in their 60s, 70s, 80s, we got to be ready for them so that when they get to that stage where they need help and they cannot be alone, what are we going to do? My vision is that I don't want to put them in a home. I want them to stay home, but I want to bring them the services. I was having coffee with the Panamanian nurse the other day. I met her somewhere and I'm like, listen, I need you to come. Hola, Cheryl from Denver. Yeah. I said, I need you to tell me how things are done here. I used to own a home care company. I know how to create a company where you can hire professionals to go into the home and take care of people because that's what my ladies want. We don't want to go in a facility. We want to stay at home and we want people to come in and help take care of us that we can afford to pay because that's the problem over there. When you hire people, I mean, I'm talking about, I used to charge $25 an hour. If you have someone, and that was like years ago. So if you hire somebody to stay with you or your mom or whoever, $25 multiplied by 24 multiplied by 7, right? And then when you go in a facility, as I told you, I work in those places. I do not want to be in those facilities. I don't care how squeaky, I don't care how pretty it looks. When they take you on a tour and they show you all the shiny stuff, it's what happens when they're short staffed. When somebody needs to be changed and they don't have the staff to do it. People develop bed sores. They can't feed themselves. They put the food in front of them. Happens all the time. And this person cannot feed themselves. The CNAs are like, we're too busy. They just come, they pick up the tray, and they take it back. And that person becomes depleted. Their wounds aren't healing. They're getting infection, and that's how you die. Neglect, undernourished. And then you're in that room because you can't move. It takes people to really love you and really have the time to pick you up, put you in a wheelchair with your diaper, and take you somewhere where you can see the sunshine. How many times do they do that? Because we overwork those people. They don't have the time to do that. I do not want to be in that situation. That's why I'm here. So when you tell me I'm busy, yes, I'm busy trying to find information so I can create this space. When the sister comes and she's like, well, I had surgery, I can't do that. Okay, I can just pick up the phone and say, I need a nurse to come here. And then you have to be okay to opening your purse to take care of you. That's why you worked hard. The mentality in the US is like, oh, the government, Medicare doesn't pay for that. It was always a surprise when I told people they come home. I used to have a home care company. And then I go see them and they say, what do you mean you're leaving? My doctor said you were going to stay with me. I said, well, your doctor didn't know, he lied to you. Oh, isn't Medicare going to pay for that? No, man, Medicare doesn't pay for that. Medicare will pay for a nurse to come see you once or twice a week for 2 weeks. You can get a therapist to come see you 2 or 3 times a week for 3 weeks, and then that's it. I have had the hospital discharge a patient, put them in a taxi with their little bag, with the hospital gown on. Just tell them, give them an address, and they drop this person off on the side of the road. And me as a home care nurse, I get there, the patient is sitting on the side of the road with their little bag. They don't even have the key to get inside, because they're not all there. I mean, the abuse that goes on is insane. Insane. And that's why I'm here, ladies. I just don't want that for me or for my ladies. So we are working very hard. And that's why my ladies, when they say, oh, I want to join SWRA, but it's like, let's have coffee. I need to see where your head is at. I need to know what you're looking for. Because if you come here, you just want to socialize, you want to go play pickleball, you want to go here, go over there, have lunch here and there. We need somebody who's like, okay, I'm getting older, let me think. What's going to happen to me when? It's not if, it's when. We're building the sisterhood to say, okay, sis, you come from the hospital. Yeah, we're gonna come. We'll take you back home. Somebody's gonna sit with you. We take turn. That's the kind of sisterhood we want to build here in Panama. That's why we're not interested in being the biggest, the baddest, because I know it takes a lot of effort. So I'm talking to this nurse to say, okay, how do I hire a nurse? And what are the different levels of nurses? And I found out they have technical nurses, 4-year nurses, and they have some nurses with advanced skills, kind of almost like our advanced practice nurse, even though they don't call them that. I know the doctors are beautiful, they're really kind, and that is such a plus. To have a provider who sees you as a human being and not just a number. And he's not pressured to see 30 patients. So you're talking to him, he's not paying attention because he's thinking, oh, I got to do these notes, I got to review those labs, I got to call here. They're distracted because the system is putting so much pressure on them, they forget that they're doctors. They're just concerned about meeting certain benchmarks. That's why I'm looking into Thailand. That's Trace. I can get someone in every day for about 400 a month. Yeah, about the same here. I love what you are talking about. I would invest in that in you. Oh, you know what you're talking about. Of course, I'm a nurse practitioner. And I own a home care company for 13 years, ladies. This is not new for me. There's another lady who said she took her, and Debbie, who's watching me here, she's got her 97-year-old mom with her, right? And she's able to hire someone to come stay with her mom for the day so she doesn't feel so pressured to take care of mom. Lift her up, change her, feed her. This is what wear out the caregivers. That day, today, it's going to wear you out. And a lot of time, the caregivers cook before the patient. A lot of times. And this lady from Mexico, And I wish I could find her so I can interview her too. She was able to take her mom to Mexico, and she hires someone to take care of her mom. And I think yesterday or the day before, I was watching Charlotte Van Horn. She had the woman in Mexico who owned something called Casa Elm. I think it's in San Miguel de Allende. And she has like, it's like almost like an Airbnb bed and breakfast kind of outfit where people go to visit and they stay with her. But now she says she has extended into, she, I don't know if she bought the property, but she is doing some kind of assisted living, co-living kind of thing where she's gonna, people would come and stay and they're responsible for her. That's not what I want. We don't want that here. And as long as God gives me the ability, I will never allow anybody to change my vision. My vision is for us to be at home because I'm a home care kind of focused person and bring the services in. In fact, my vision started a few years ago. It's a bit different, but it was come on like that non-facility type of aging in place. I still had that in my head, right? Because I'm somebody who's always thinking, and because I'm a entrepreneur in my head. I may be poor, but I'm an entrepreneur. Oh no, ma'am, there is no empathy. Mm-mm. They don't care if you're old, if you're young, you are not a human being, and that's just so disgusting. It just would break, it breaks my heart as a caregiver. I can't do it. I can't do it. What you're describing is what I am looking for. I'm on my own and trying to set things up now while I still have my mind. Yes. And you know, Trace, one of the things that we do for our sisters, we have people come talk about cremation, burial. We talk about emergencies. We make sure we have each other's emergency contacts, your medical history. Because this is not the time to say, oh, I'm over here, you over there. You're not going to survive, sis. We need community. So when I was talking to my nurse, my new nurse friend, and when you tell a Panamanian that you are here by yourself, their eyes grow big because they are so family oriented, right? They cannot fathom moving thousands of miles to a new place alone. That is in it, just like I met this older lady. We were at an event and she was like, her son was there, her daughter, and she said, you alone? Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine being away from my kids. And I talk about that in a video, that concept of individualism. That's why we are where we are now. We push our kids out. We raise them with the idea that when they grow up, they move away and then they leave you. Well, you were kind of strong and then you grow old and you need help. And there's no one who can leave their job, their family to come take care of you. There lies the problem. And baby boomers like ourselves, about 10,000 plus, retiring every single day. Every single day. Scientists call it the tsunami. What are we going to do with all those people? Listen, the other day, even Panama is starting to see that. They're talking about the aging of the population and so many people aging, and they're like, we're not ready for this. So Panama is starting to see that because we have little, what do they call these little plazas in every single little town. And then during the day, you see a bunch of old people, especially the guys, sitting there doing nothing. And you know, inactivity like that, and a lot of them feel that they say, I think my family has abandoned me. That's going to kill you sooner than any disease. That isolation and that feeling that nobody cares. I don't want that for our sisters. I want my sister to know that if you need some help, we got you. But it's a give and take. We are going to try to put our sisters in clusters so that they check on each other every day. So if something happens to a sister in your building, you are committed to lending a hand. If you're one of those people who say, "Oh yeah, well, I don't know her. She's not my family," you don't belong in SWRA. I'm sorry, you do not belong in SWRA. You have got to change your mindset. We got to get back to the idea of community. That's the only way we're going to survive. That's the way we were before. We need to get back to that. Thank you, Trace. Thank you so much. I do not know I could get help in Panama for about 500 a month. Yep. Maybe I need to take a second look. You need to. You need to. And my sister, Debbie, she's watching here on YouTube, on Facebook. She's got her mom and she's got someone there to help. I think she told me she comes to the house 6 days a week and she's there for like 10, 12 hours a day. Correct me, Debbie, if I'm misspeaking, but it's a lot more affordable here than in the States. Of course, everything is more affordable here. Isolation, laugh. Oh, yes. That kills you more than anything. And they've done lots of research, like places like England and other places. Because, when I was in the UK, I went there to study some nursing. I wanted to move there in the 90s, I guess. And I was talking to some old people, and their mindset is when I start getting older and I feel like I'm a danger to myself, she says, we pick up the phone and we take ourselves into one of those homes. We don't put it on our kids. They say it's not up to our kids to make that decision for us, it's our decision. And so they're already pre-programmed to being in a home, in a communal type community. So it's less isolating for them. Thank you, guys. It's less isolating for them because they make the decision. Versus in our culture, we usually have to drag an old person and dump them into a nursing home because they know that's the end. It's never a beginning. And very few people end up leaving the nursing home to go stay with, let's say, a child. And I just can't see myself. I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys, definitely can't really rely on them. My daughter, well, she's got her own life and she needs to work and make money. I would not want, she said, well, Mom, I wouldn't abandon you. I said, I know, but I don't want you to have to make that choice. So that's why I'm making that choice for me while I can. While I can. Do you do those relocation tours? No, I do not. I'd love to come and see areas and apartment. Well, people come here and then you can hire. We have drivers that will take you around, take you to see apartments. Yeah, you don't need to do relocation tours. But if you want all the information curated and handed to you on a platter, I don't know if they give you like a manual or a book. I know Jackie in the Bukete area, she gives you get access to her uh, relocation guide, I think, with all information. And I'm doing a guide with all the information. It's going to be way cheaper than Jackie's, but it's not going to be online, right? And then I'm going to create a mailing list of everybody who has bought a relocation guide. So if there is any update, then I'm going to give them that update. She's the one that started that 10 or 11 years ago. But you know what? I couldn't afford that. I think it's like $3,000. And this lady in Mexico, she was saying that her tours were like $4,000. And I'm like, well, I definitely couldn't take one. That's a lot of money, right? I feel like if you watch a lot of videos and you're curious and you're not scared, you cannot be scared to go out there to ask oh, Crystal, welcome. She just signed up to be a member. Thank you. So it's important that you be comfortable looking out for information. When I came to Panama, you know my story. Maybe you don't. I came to see the canal and I was sitting in a boat and I was like, oh my God, I love this place. Just a sense of calm and relaxation and peace. I love that. But I wasn't ready to retire. I said, I'd like to come back and visit. So I came back 2 or 3 times after that. And then it was like when I was ready to retire, went to Africa, checked some other places, and I was like, I have not felt as good any other place than when I was in Panama. You come in Panama, every people look like you, the food is familiar, nobody's paying you attention. The police is so calm and chill. You don't start hyperventilating if you see one. And it's like, wow, we're not used to that. We have lost that, sadly, sadly, sadly. All of us in the States are stressed out to the max. Not all, a lot of us. And, continued stress like that is damaging to your body. And your body includes your brain. So a lot of people are trying to escape because they just can't. The stress is relentless. It's relentless. So I say Panama chose me. I didn't choose it. You're pretty resourceful. Well travel. Hey, listen. I had a manual, a book, and then I just take notes. You watch videos and you take notes because a lot of the information, not only Hola Marie, Cheryl, Debbie, oh wow. Um, if you take notes, first of all, take my self-assessment to say, do I have what it takes to live abroad? Because one of our sisters woke up this morning and she had water all over her apartment. Well, that can happen anywhere. I had that happen to me in New York. So life be lifing, right? Things happen anywhere. But then you have a higher level of the unknown, and you have to be able to say, and when you travel is one thing, but to live abroad is different, right? So for me, a tropical weather, check. Food, check. Sense of peace, nature, the sea, the water, fresh food, check. Language, I speak Spanish, check. So I had a lot of things going for me, right? Not that if you're here and you don't speak Spanish, you can't make it. That's not what we're saying. But make an effort. It shouldn't be something that paralyzes you. Oh my God, I'll never be able to speak the language. Yes, you can. This morning, oh, thank you, Grandma. This morning, my Spanish class at 10 a.m. So now we've done a lot of the basics. So now we are about conversation. So I'm pushing them to speak. And then towards the end of the class, they were sounding so good. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to church tomorrow and raise my hand." They were cracking up. I said, "I'm gonna raise my hand in Thanksgiving. Wanna do it? Wanna do it?" Because if you keep at it and you put in the effort, you're not gonna speak like I do because it takes time. And I tell them, I've been around Spanish language since I was in middle school, so don't expect to be at my level in 6 months. It's not gonna happen. But can you improve? Yes. And every time they say a word wrong, I correct them. I know they get upset, and I'm like, but I can't let you go out there and saying it in this way. They won't understand you. So, commitment to learning the language is important. Being able to move within a different culture, being able to be comfortable around people who don't look like you, not feeling paranoid if you somewhere they're speaking a language like, oh, they're talking about me. No, you're not that important. Chill. Panamanians do not look at you. They don't care who you are. If you get on the train, they might look for a second and then they're back looking at their phone. No one pays you attention. I tell people, don't worry about your breasts. You don't need to go get the enhancement. You don't need to inject anything in your butt. They do not care. You have a belly, they all have bellies. They don't care. So that alone, just like relax. People come here, they lose weight without trying. It's that cortisol, the stress that keeping you fat over there. You can't sleep. People come here, they say, I sleep for a week. Yes, because you're so stressed over there, you can't even get a good night's sleep. Listen, so you have to do all that little check, 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 check to see, well, Thailand, Panama. I think the biggest thing you're going to talk about for Thailand, Panama, definitely the distance. I'm thinking, how many hours is that on the plane? I don't like to be on a plane that long. When I was going to Ghana in South Africa, it was like 16 hours. My God, I was just trying. I had enough. I don't like those long flights. 3.5 hours here to get to the state, I can handle that. Okay. So you need to know what is important to you. Look at the healthcare. And listen, sis, I told you, if you manage your money, you don't need to live like the Joneses. You need to live a simpler life. You don't need all the stuff, as people come here and they're like, oh, we spent $4,000 or $5,000 buying this, buying that. I'm like, adelante. You could do that? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not spending money retrofitting somebody else's apartment and then I leave in a year or two. That is not good use of your money. And why do you need this and that? You say, oh, I need my familiar things. You're paying for a whole container to come to bring what? Chairs and stuff? Seriously? We have chairs here. You can buy furniture here. Don't be attached to things, sis. Yeah, bring your albums of your kids. Yeah, you can do that. But certain things, you got to let them go. Yes, it's going to pull at your heartstrings. I'm not saying it's easy, but we've all done it. I'm a cook. My kitchen was full of beautiful plates, serving plate. When I saw my friend walk out, I felt like part of my heart was going out with them. It's like I spent time. I remember getting a beautiful white wood table in my kitchen. I'm a single woman. I put that table together myself. And when I finished, I was so proud of myself. When somebody came and they took that, it hurt. And I shed some tears. But that's part of the growth. That's part of decluttering and simplifying. As you get older, you need to simplify. I'm going to be doing some decluttering. I keep saying I'm going to do it because I noticed. Thank you so much, Trace. Ah, wow. Oh, you're working out with me. Good. And, it was like, it just, the emotional toll that it takes to move from one place to another. So why would you want to recreate the same thing? I look in my drawer the other day. I was like, why do I need all these knives? I threw away like 8 and I ended up with 10. And I'm like, when did I end up with 18 knives? I'm a cook. That's what we do. We buy knives. We don't buy shoes. But I said, I am going to go through some more decluttering. I'm finding, churches and places that will take my extra stuff. I'm going to go in because I have like 2 rows of things. And I'm like, I haven't worn these things since I got here. They're going to go. I want to be ready with one suitcase. If I need to go anywhere, pick it up and go. Simple, simple. I don't want to be attached to things. I don't want anything to hold me back. I don't need it. I don't need 12 pairs of sandals. I can only wear 1 pair at a time. Did I keep my bank retirement account in the US? Yes, and you should. Do not change that. Don't send your money here from Social Security. It's going to make you have to report something every 2 years. Don't need to do that. Leave your money over there. But you open a bank account here and you transfer money from over there to here. But they were trying to see if they're going to tax us every time we make a transfer. I haven't heard if that's the truth or not, but that's what most of us do. We have an account here because to pay your rent and all your bills, you need money from here because you don't want to do an ACH transfer from your bank account to pay your rent here. Because every time you do a transfer, it's like what, $55? You don't need to do that. So yes, I recommend you do a bank account here and then leave your money over there and just transfer back and forth. In fact, I tell people when you can open your bank account with $100 here. So do a 500, 1,000, and then maybe do a cashier's check for like a nice chunk and then deposit here. It's going to take a little while to clear because Panama is very careful about money and money laundering. So everything takes a long time. Even to start to get a bank account can be a lengthy process, 1 to 3 days, depending. Um, but then you don't have to worry about making too many transfers. Yeah, I have a bank account here and my bank account at home. Yes, yes. You need to open a bank account here because that's how you pay your rent. Nobody sends you a bill. There is no mail service here. Everything is electronic. So you get your bill for your internet, your cable online. And then what you do, you go in your bank account, you set that as a third party for services. And then listen, let's say electric. There's a company called Netergy. That's the company that provides the electric here in the city. So the bill comes, it says, your factura, they call it, is here. You look at your amount and you get your 25% jubilado discount off your bill. And you just go into your bank account after you've set them up as a payee. That's somebody you're going to pay, right? And then when you click on that name, the exact amount of your bill shows up. They're all related. So when you go pay your electric in the bank, it's already, you just have to say pay it and it transfers it from your account to them. Done. Same thing for your cell phone and in your rent. You set your landlord as a payee and you get their bank account information. It doesn't have to be the same bank as yours. It doesn't matter. You can transfer from banks in between inside Panama, no problem. So when it's time to pay the rent, you just do a transfer. And then once you pay it, you get a voucher and you can download as a PDF and then you send it to your landlord saying, up, I paid the bill. There is no paperwork. Nobody's going to send you a bill. None of that here. Marie, hola. Cheryl, when do you think your guide will be done? I would say maybe about a week. Yesterday, I spent almost all day. I went to bed around 2 o'clock. I made such a big, you know what's taking me longer? Every time I think I'm done, I'm like, well, they want to know about what the hairdresser is. They want to know who can do their braids and locks. They need to know how to frame a picture. I have a bunch of pictures that need to be framing. They need to know how to a place that does party supplies. Things like that. I'm putting all of that in the guide so that if you're looking for something, whatever I'm thinking that I have needed, somebody to clean your house, somebody to take you around, um, my dentist information, my doctor, where to get your nails done, your hair done, the different stores around here. I'm not doing restaurants, right? Because the restaurants, it depends on what you like. We do have the funders, which are like the basic mom and pop, all the way to 5 star. So people can find that out for themselves. So I'm thinking maybe a week or two at the most, because once I send it to the people I hire on Fiverr, they usually take about a week to format it because it needs to be in the EPUB so I can put it on Amazon KDP and then PDF for people to just download. So I'll say a week or two. Gail Days, Stella. You say Gail. I have a friend called Gail. I was like, I wonder if it's her. A lot of time I see my old friends on here, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel people I work with, you know. Hola, Greta. One suitcase. That's all I need. Everything else is gonna go. Like Lady Ree. Oh, thank you. Looking forward to visiting Panama. So many people, I'll tell you, I see a lot of us in the streets. A lot of Americans are here. But this guy, look at, let me show you. It's pouring out here. It's already raining again. The real estate guys were saying that it's not just Americans coming, it's like Canadians, people from Germany and other places. Look at this. You see how white it is? It's raining out here. Can't see anything. And then it already rained in the morning. This morning I got up, oh my God, I got up early. I went to the fish market, to the farmer's market, and I was all over the place before my class at 10. I got here at 9:48, just in time for my class. Listen, if you don't have a sense of humor, this life is gonna kill you. I'm telling you. Sometimes I have little pity parties on my by myself. I think I tell people that these days my tears are never too far away, but I don't think it's a weakness, and I'm not depressed. I think it's a release. And as a psychiatric person, I can tell you that sometimes if you don't cry, it hurts you because you're not releasing all the emotions that you're feeling. But what you don't want is for that sadness to turn into something like despair. So that's why you have to be real careful. Yes, I know I need to cry because I get so overwhelmed with everything that's happening around me. And then I'm like, but there's nothing I personally can do about it. All I can do is bloom where I'm planted to inspire in my little circle, and then that's all I can do. And I have to release it. I have to release it. Did you keep your US cell phone number and account or did you switch? Oh my God, MB, I wish I had. The plan was for me to keep it. So anybody listening here, keep your US phone number because you're gonna have a hard time with your bank if you don't have a US number. When I was gonna go to South Africa, I was supposed to be in the Peace Corps for 3 years, and I was like, I'm not gonna be paying because you're still paying T-Mobile or Metro, whatever. I'm not gonna pay for 3 years, so I turned in my number that I had for like 30 some years. But then I returned early from the Peace Corps. I came back after 3 months and I could not get access to my bank in the US. They're like, we don't recognize this foreign number. Nope. It's like the security system locked it. And I tried for a week. Finally, one of the people that I called a different number, he said, you know what? The system, I can't do anything for you. The system won't let me do it. Because they see you keep trying, and the harder I try, the tighter the security. So he said, leave it alone for a week and then try again. That's what I did. And then when I tried again, finally they were able to send me, that two-step verification. Oh my God, I thought I was pulling my hair out. I don't even have more. Too much. And finally, I was able to get that two-step verification code through my email. It was an act of God, and I was so grateful. Keep your phone number. Don't give it. That $50, $60 a month is worth it, okay? Dark weather, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Are there a lot of art classes? Oh, well, that's a good question. This is not a field that I dabble in, but I know I belong to a women's group, and they always have art stuff. So it's out there. People, even the sisters, they do a lot of craft stuff. The other day they decorated a cup, and they do wall things, and we do have lots of galleries here, and there are some local artists. Oh, there is a local artist from Cologne. He's called Jim the Court, and he has a very unique style of multicolored blue, yellow, red, pink. I have one of his bell bottom pants. That is, I'm like, oh, that's my pride and joy. So we do have odd stuff going on here. And don't you need your US number for Social Security? What do you mean for Social Security? Before you get here, you already set to get your Social Security check already deposited in your account. You don't need to do anything. It automatically comes to your bank, right? But I think you need the US number when you are trying to access online banking, and they want to send you a text or a code, and they refuse to do it through a foreign number. Just like when you hear, you need to get a local number. When you go to set up your electric, your mobile phone, your cable, they don't want your US number. So all of us have two numbers. Either we have two phones, or you can just have an extra SIM card with the Panama number in your US phone. Therefore, you can access, both numbers. Mhm. You need to join my Spanish class. Yep, you need to just send me an email at tellmeaboutswa, SWRA, at gmail.com. My next class is going to be a beginner class, beginner. It's going to be on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. my time, which is Central. It's all online via Zoom. And we have fun in the class. The last time I checked Jackie's online relocation, yeah, she's pretty pricey. Oh, it went to 600. Mine's not gonna be anywhere like that. I have the simple relocation guide that's $25, and then once I get the um, what do I call it? Resource, Panama resource guide. I'm gonna sell it as a package. You can buy the package or just one or the other. So no, nothing like that. Yeah, keep your number. 2-point authentication if there is a process. Yes, online. Yes. They call it two-step verification. That's an added level of security. You know how I know with me, I have facial recognition on my phone on my account here in Panama. So if I just put it on my in front of my face, I'm good. But for my bank account, right? Because they can tell where you are calling from. I do have facial. Yeah, I do have facial. And then once I want to access my account, they say, "Oh, we need to send you a code." And they initially refused. Oh, I just went. um, I went through that with United Healthcare. They sent me something to review your notice of whatever every year, and I go to sign on. They're like, "Oh, it's time for you to change your password." Okay, I want to change my password. Oh, before you can change your password, we need to see who you are, and we have to send you a code. Oh my God! And then they won't accept my Panama number, and I called my daughter and I said, "Can I use your number to do that?" Their system recognized that it's not my number. They locked it. They locked the account. So I was able to call someone and then give him my number. And I don't know, God was helping me. Finally, we unlocked the account and I was able to get through. It's a pain. It is a pain. I mean, I'm grateful for the security. But when that guy was using my credit card, when he pickpocketed me, they let him charge $6,000. I'm like, yeah. How come that security didn't work then? Would you recommend adding someone to your bank account in the U.S. to avoid access problem? Ooh, that is a touchy question. I don't know that, people put their children, if you have a child that you trust, yes, you could do that. But not just anyone, because, people have been taken out to the cleaners like that. Even here, when my daughter was here, it's recommended that whoever is your healthcare surrogate or your legal person that you have picked to make decisions for you. And that's another thing I forgot to tell you, that when you come to Panama as an older person, your advance directives, you got to redo them here in Spanish. Whatever you have in the US does not carry over here. Different countries, different rules. Okay. So when you have your bank account here, because we go through this scenario a lot here, we're like, what happens if they find me in this apartment? Which most likely they will. Something happens to you, nobody's here with you, we all live alone. Even we have sisters, we check in the morning. I could check with you at 8 a.m. and then I fall and do something at 9. You'll never know. So it's gonna be days before they find, and I'm okay with that, right? So when your next of kin or your healthcare surrogate comes to Panama, they have to have access to your bank account here. So make sure you add somebody here so that when they come and in your paperwork, your legal paperwork, this is my designated surrogate, the person in charge, so they can close your apartment, close your account, and take care of your affairs. And then also work with the funeral home about your cremation, right? And make sure you make your wishes known to your child or whoever you pick to be your designated person. But in the States, uh, it's a personal decision. I know some sisters here who have their daughters or somebody on their account. And if it works, somebody you trust implicitly, of course. With my guiding attorneys, yes, all that. My guide, I give you a bunch of information, written information, emergencies, how the hospital system works. And then when you get to the last section, that's where I give you all the contact information. We start with the attorneys, then we follow with real estate, and then we follow with people to pick you up from the airport. We follow with the guide, the tour guide that's gonna take you around the country. We talk about how to find a doctor, um, the different clinics. We list all the different hospitals, not just in the city, but in other areas of the country. We talk about culture, talk about food, the different communities here, how they intersect with each other, the indigenous, the Afro Caribbean. You need to understand that Panama is a mix of cultures. And that's why when you go to a restaurant, you find a little bit of everything, right? You're gonna have the indigenous tortillas. You're gonna have the hojaldra. You're gonna have rice and peas. You're gonna have chicken. You're gonna have the Chinese fried rice. We are a paella. So we have all kind of information. And I think, like I said, I spent hours last night adding. I was like, oh, I need to add that. You know, people to help you move, right? If you want to move from one apartment to another. Um, some people want to get a driver's license. We got people called fixers. The fixers are the ones you're going to pay them. They're going to take you around the different neighborhoods. They're going to go with you to see different apartments, and they're going to help you with the lease document. You know, tell you, make sure you ask for this, ask for that, right? And then they help you move into your apartment. Then they go with you to help you open a bank account. That could be an all-day affair. Banking is serious here in Panama because they're worried about money laundering. And lots of people park their monies here. It's a financial center. So all that information is in there. In fact, with our sisters, 11 of us are going to go to a Mother's Day retreat in December because Mother's Day is December 8th. So we're going to go December 7th to the 9th, and then we're hiring a driver. So I was meeting him last night with his wife. We're going to get a big van, and you know, people here are making money off of us, off of the expats. Lots of people taking you around. And when I meet someone that say, oh yeah, my driver is this, she took me to where I needed to buy food. She took me, showed me where to get my nails done. She took me where to get my hair done. Complete, full service. Yep. Yes. Do they have the life alert system? No, they don't. And this is why we are creating the cluster system. The thing we have that is closest to being an alert system is, and this is something we're going to try to implement for all our sisters, there are some phones that you can pair with a watch that is waterproof, and whatever information is in your phone is also in your watch. So your emergency contact should be in your watch. God forbid you fall, you haven't lost consciousness, and you say, I've fallen, I can't get up. Then you can get your watch, you push a button, and then it rings the person who's your contact. So you're gonna have contact number one. If contact number one doesn't respond, you go to contact number two. That is the easiest thing we think. The watch is like 60, she said 60 some dollars. And then you buy the phone and then you pair them so they're talking to each other. That's the best thing we find right now. But there is no, when you get an alert system, there is a monitoring station so that if you activate it, then they call the police. We don't have that here. Does Panama, my battery is going low on this phone. Does Panama have a variety of restaurants that serve plant-based? Yes, lots of them. And then all the food, the veggies and stuff is fresh. So we do have lots of vegetarian, plant-based restaurants here. Don't know if you answered this. Will your guide have various rental communities in it? I don't believe I'm going to give you specific names, but we talk about each neighborhoods that we know expats are uh, living in, right? And we do have certain neighborhoods. And the reason the expats like it, for accessibility, walkability, people get out of their apartment and then they walk a few feet to the fruteria where they buy all their fruits and veggies. Their food store is right there. The doctor is not that far. So those communities, we talk about each community, but not the buildings, right? Because the buildings, it depends on how far your money is going to go and what you're looking for. And I tell you, I do a big section on rental, what you need to look for as a single older woman. There is a lady in town who is showing people apartments for like $450. I can tell you, I wouldn't want to live in a place like that because I need 24-hour security. I need elevators. I need a gym, right? So you can find some little Panamanian style home, but they're going to be standalone, and you are a single foreign person being by yourself. There's a lot of home robberies and stuff going on, and I do not recommend it. So don't try to save a buck and put yourself at risk. Maggie will never tell you to do that. What happens if you don't have anyone to act as? It doesn't have to be a family member, it could be a friend. Like I have my person here, we met here, and then I have my daughter in the States. So your executor doesn't have to be a family member by blood, it could be a friend or an acquaintance. You don't have that kind of watch. I don't either. I don't have it yet, but I'm saying that's the goal. The sister has it, and she said she never takes it off. She takes a shower with it, so if anything happens to her in her apartment, she'll be able to call me because I'm her person. So I'll go over there, or I would call her building and say, send someone to her apartment to check on her before I get there, right? And that's the information that we collect from the sisters. We want to know where you live. How do we contact your building in case something happens to you? Because time is always of the essence. The guide, a week or two, and I'll make an announcement once it's ready for download. Darlene, hola, ¿cómo estás? Are there herbalists, holistic practitioners? Um, There is, yeah, I know there are herbalists because a lot of the sisters here are into the herbal thing, right? So I don't move into that circle, but yes, they're here. And a lot of doctors are holistic, so they're not pushing medications. They're more into changing lifestyle and encouraging you to exercise and do other things. Um, but I don't know that it's as strong as in the US, right? Personally, I'm kind of leery about all the herbs and stuff because you can hurt yourself if you're not being monitored. But there is a group of people who are very in tune with that. Eating from the ground, from the earth, a lot of organic farms here, and they deliver to your building. Oh yeah, it's amazing. Because you do have, it's not just, hi darling, it's not just Americans who are here. We need to understand that people are here from New Zealand, South Africa, Germany, everywhere, Canadians. In my building, lots of French Canadians. And the people who own the apartments in the buildings are usually foreigners who live out of the country. This is just their investment property. So they have a management company manage the building, the rental, and then they're not here, right? So, um, yeah. All right, yes, but if you don't have anyone who wants to take that on, is there a service or lawyer in Panama who acts like this? I think so, because in the States we have the same thing. Um, you can designate your attorney as your executor. Mhm. I love the holistic approach, but you do have to be careful. That's why I say, me, I'm a medical practitioner. I know most medications come from plants, but we know you can cross over too much with plants, or because some of them should not be mixing, or the amount that you taking can be toxic to your body. So everything in moderation. You don't got to go crazy. I know this sister asked me, "What is the herb that you take to do a cleanse?" I said, "I don't know because I don't do that. I try to eat healthy and I don't need to cleanse. I drink lots of water, lots of green tea, and I'm good." I saw your video about relocation just today on YouTube. Oh, good. There you go. So, well, I hope this phone here on Facebook is gonna go. Okay, guys, it's almost 2 hours. Oh my God, we did it again. Any other questions before we close out? Do some of the apartments have tubs? Yes, mine does. The only person I had passed away. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, in the States, you can hire care managers to be your executor if you don't have anybody, or you can have an attorney be your executor. I have had attorneys manage people's money like that. Well, you have to pay them something. But if you have friends, then you don't have to pay them. Is there a URL for short-term rentals? Short-term rentals are Airbnb, and then but there is a website here. This is for long-term. I don't think they even want to do 6 months anymore. They want to do a year. But if you go to Encuentra 24, you can search apartment and get an idea of what an apartment looks like in Panama. I think it's a good exercise. Encuentra24.com. Encuentra 24. That's where people post their apartments for rent or for sale. And I saw some fancy apartments yesterday. Oh my God, 4,000 or 5,000 a month. That would hurt me to pay that much money for an apartment. I'd rather buy one. Did you know how to speak the language before you move? Yes, I did. How long does it take you to become? Well, it depends, sis. And I can tell you now that because we are older, it's hard. And I tell my ladies, you have to be dedicated and you got to push. You got to force your brain to open because it's been asleep for a while. It can learn it, but it takes a lot of effort and it's going to take time. So don't expect to be fluent in 6 months or a year. It's going to take you much longer than that. But can you converse even if it's not perfect after about a year? Yes. Keep your television on Spanish station. In your car, have Spanish conversation. You're training your ears because you're going to hear before you can speak. Speaking comes last, and it's not easy. All right? Anything else, guys? Oh, that was lovely. So many of you. Thank you for tuning in. Any other questions? I'll practice on the students at the school that I'm still employed with. But I'm kind of, but you need to understand the basics, so right? You got to understand verbs and adverbs and conjugation and all that. And language is very regional. There are some things here, the way they say it, they don't say it like that in the books or in Colombia or in Mexico. Every country has their own specific, it's not a patois, but they have specific ways of saying certain things. Like I told my student this week, they don't say bananas are not bananas. They call guineos. I never heard of that anywhere. But if you go in the store and you're looking over the bananas, the sign says guineo. It doesn't say bananas. Oh, Greta, I'm so glad you're able to make it. Thank you, ladies. Yes, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. Free information. This is free. This is not consultation. This is free, free, free. The only thing I ask is that you hit the plus and then subscribe. All right, guys. Thank you, Lynette. I'm glad you could join in. Auntie, Greta, Tracy. Thank you for the super chats, MB. Lovely seeing you. Cheryl, Darlene. Thank you so much, ladies, for watching. But I'm going to finish my Riesling and yeah, I'm going to finish. I'm going to work on my guide. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Amy, you were there. Oh, you missed it again. No worries. No worries. We'll be here next week. All right? Have a blessed weekend, everybody. God loves you. I love you. Bye.